Hello, hello, and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. Not much happening here. Bitcoin actually leading the way today. That affects some altcoins as well. Some of them were due a bounce, like for example Link, like ETH as well here, which could still give us a more healthy wave 4. Then we talked about Bonk, for example, which should see a little bit of a bounce. So there are a few coins that were due a bounce. Also Matic obviously possibly completed its correction. Rune, by the way, get a lot of questions about Rune. Nobody's watching the videos here, so I do cover it. I tend to cover it rarely on YouTube, but very, very regularly for gold members, so if you're interested in that. But honestly, there's no point making a video if I get just a few hundred views, because I have to listen to what viewers want, right? And if I make a video and nobody's watching it, it's a waste of time. I could do something that people want to watch more of, and essentially that's what we're dealing with. So looking at the ETH chart, it might be it's forming now a larger fourth wave. Mentioned yesterday that a more healthy wave 4 would be likely actually, because so far what we've seen here as a fourth wave in this bounce, it is too weak basically to be reliable. Now at the same time, if we see a 5-wave move up from here, it could mean that a more substantial low has formed. Bitcoin is starting the engine today, obviously. So Bitcoin is performing quite well. I mentioned that in the video today, that we should see 41.9k minimally in a third wave, if this is now a breakout. But we need 5 waves up on the Bitcoin chart. As long as we have only 3, even if it goes higher and higher and higher, if it's only a 3-wave move, it can easily fail. But it's quite impulsive price action. So yeah, maybe we see at least a larger corrective bounce, or maybe already a breakout. But then again, I need to see 5 waves in, then we have the first confirmation for a breakout. But we'll talk about that in the Bitcoin videos. And if you want to stay up to date, feel free to follow us on Twitter, but also check out the Gold membership, in which we send short-term market updates as well. But looking at ETH, to be honest, it's at the moment not doing anything that would threaten the resistance area. We haven't even entered the resistance area. So the nearest resistance is at 2,267, at 2,330, and then 2,382. They are Fibonacci resistances, and a break above this wave 4 high at 2,350 would just mean a break of a structural resistance. Okay, so there's structural resistance here. All I can say is that at the moment, the market hasn't given me any evidence that a more substantial low has formed. We are in a support area here. Yeah, we've got this ascending trend line. We have these previous swing lows. As I mentioned yesterday, the market did find support in this area around those previous swing lows. Yeah, and I mentioned as well that we could potentially see a bit of a head and shoulders pattern here form. So a bit of a bounce maybe into resistance. And then if it fails, it could fail miserably. But then we have the larger Fibonacci support area that is relevant for our current wave 2 correction. So bottom line is nothing has changed. The idea is that a more healthy wave 4 would look better on this chart. Maybe we'll get it. Resistance levels are clear. As long as we are below resistance, the current parameters of the current micro count are respected. Be aware that it's worth distinguishing between the micro count as well as the overall assumption on this chart. The overall assumption is bullish. So we're watching for a breakout at any point really from here, but ideally after one more low, maybe even 2 more lows. But we're watching for a bullish breakout into the region of $3,000 to $3,500. Okay, so we say don't trade the count, trade the levels. All right. The wave count might suggest another low or maybe even 2, but literally that should be it. A lot of coins could have completed their corrections already, like Rune, like AVAX, not AVAX, Aave, Matic, Link. Okay, so there are many that are already ready to break out, and Ether, yeah, might get one more low, but this structure has been extremely messy. Yeah, and bear in mind that it could bottom at any time with a WXY structure. So a break above resistance would only be the first indication, though, that we've seen a low in wave 2 already. We need to see 5 waves up. It's way too early for that. If anything like that shows, I will update later in the Gold membership. At the moment, I think it's only worth to know about these resistances, and that if there is another low, it should project us down to 2,100. That's sort of what I highlighted to you yesterday as well. So literally, other than a bit of a green candle here, there's nothing to see here at the moment. And if this C wave forms, then it could simply be a 5-wave move, but only in wave C. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, this. Yeah, but see, that would be a 5-wave move, but it's below resistance and it's part of the C wave. So that's sort of what, we could track on the micro, but micro counts, they are too fragile. So, but that's sort of essentially what we could look at. This would be an A wave of sorts probably. But if it does something like that, 1, 2, this would be a 3 instead of a C wave, then a 4 and a 5, and ideally we break above resistance, we've got 5 waves up. So watch for that for a more substantial bottoming signal. After we have 5 waves up, we can look for a 3-wave corrective pullback. That's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.